Okay, this video is for anyone who runs a marketing agency, a business online, and they are struggling to get motivated, stay disciplined, and actually have the inspiration to keep working. Maybe they can do it from time to time and it just sort of tapers off after a while, and they don't really know how to do it on a consistent basis. And luckily, I've been doing this for a little while now, and I've managed to find out a way to crack this, and finding this out is actually one of the most rewarding things ever. I now know how to work whenever I want, and I don't really have this weird sort of thing where I want to work, but I can't actually bring myself to do it, and it makes me really miserable because I'm not actually working. I've managed to actually get over this now, and it's a real pleasure, and I'm really happy to actually share it with everyone that's watching this video. So if you don't know who I am, my name is Ben Lister. I help agency owners to save thousands and thousands of hours by helping them with their outreach so they can start to work on the agency rather than working in the agency. So I'm going to jump into the computer and I'm going to show you very quickly. So the way this thing works is almost like a three-prong attack, okay? And this is not something that I have initially developed on my own. I think there is theories out there that are like this. And the idea is that we live in this constant cycle, right? There's three things that happen, and this is basically the cycle that you go when you basically want to try and work, or you are working, then you fall off and then you get back into it. And if you can stay in this cycle and you know where you are in the cycle at all times, you can always jump back in. And now this has been really helpful for me, because many times that I've fallen off of work in the past and I don't really know where I'm going, and it's kind of difficult to understand, how to actually get back in and do this. And so let me just go through this. So, okay. And so the first thing in here is action. Now, I made a video like a week or so ago, basically saying that people who just think that taking action is enough, people that just take action and then everything's going to be fine is enough, they're kind of lost. And that is still true. I still do stand by that. But action is, in this sense, is literally just getting work done. So there's obviously levels to action, but here we're talking about just actually getting back in and starting. And so action is doing some work, taking a sales call, booking appointments, doing some client work, whatever it may be. Action is basically work. Okay. The next part of this line is inspiration. And so inspiration is when you get an idea. Now, I was always confused about what inspiration was. People, I'd hear like artists and stuff like that talking about, this inspired me a lot. And mostly this just means it gives them ideas. It makes them want to work more. And so because they now have these ideas and it's kind of exciting, and there's a very clear path of what's going on here. They're thinking of these ideas now, maybe we can do this, maybe we can try this YouTube video, maybe we can post this on social media, maybe we can try this outreach method, whatever it is. That's all inspiration, okay? And so once you have inspiration, the next thing you're going to get completely naturally is motivation, which is the desire to work. And I wish I could spell. And so this is what everyone actually looks for. Motivation is the thing that people are desperately looking for. And we've all heard the saying, don't ask for motivation, ask for discipline. But of course, having motivation is one of the best things that you can actually do, because it means that you actually are ready to work and excited to work, and this is what you want to do. And so this is what we're all aiming for ultimately. And so once you have the motivation, then of course you're going to complete some action. You're going to work. And so you can see how the cycle starts here. Now, and because when we actually take action, and we complete work that's being done, what you will then start to see is that when you start to get into things and you really start to understand the ideas, there's this idea and there's that idea, and then maybe you can get on this path, you get on that path, and you have these decisions where, we can take the YouTube channel in this direction, we can take it in that direction, and it just creates a whole plethora of ideas. And now what you have in front of you is inspiration. And so the only reason you got that inspiration is because you were taking action, because you were working, and you can see how this cycle starts. Now, this is all well and good understanding, how it works and stuff, but how do you actually get onto it? And so the main point to note here is that motivation you can't just decide to get motivated. It has to come to you, right? And it will come in waves, and it will come through, some months it'll be bigger than others, and, some weeks it'll be bigger than others, but you can't actually decide, now I am motivated. Something actually has to happen. And motivation often comes from a time when you are at your lowest. And if you rely on that, when, you only work when you're at your lowest, you'll just be in this constant cycle where you're just peaking and troughing all the way down, and you'll have good months and bad months. And this is the classic example, the feast and famine agencies that do 10-20k one month, and then they barely do a couple of thousand the next month, because they go through this cycle, and because they rely on the fact that they only get motivated when they're at their lowest, when something really bad happens to them, and you say, what, I'm going to sort this thing out, and I'm going to make sure that I make more money next month because I'm really not happy with where I am. And so they go through this cycle. But if you're able to find motivation from something else, then you don't need this. You don't need to be motivated. You don't need to hit that rock bottom in order to actually go and increase what you're doing, and put the work in and get to the point that you want to get. And so you can't actually get inspiration as well. You can find inspiration from different things, but the way that you find inspiration is by doing something, it's by going for a walk, it's listening to a podcast, it's listening to a YouTube video, it's something like that, right? And all of those at some level actually are action. It's not actually work, it's actually, it's contributing to the business in some sense. Of course, you need to be aware of analysis paralysis. You don't want to be watching YouTube videos all day long. You actually want to be putting in some effort and some work. One thing that you do need to be making sure that you're doing is actually going in and taking this inspiration, these YouTube videos, these podcasts, whatever it may be, and actually go and implementing it into the business, okay? But the one thing that you can absolutely do, and the only thing down here really that is solely reliant on you actually going and putting the work in and actually taking some efforts to do this, is action. And this is where it all starts, okay? And when we talk about action, like I keep saying, it doesn't have to be like the most grueling work. It doesn't have to be, going out there and doing 100 outreaches a day or something like that. What it can literally be is if you are writing, some email copy, it's literally just open Google Docs. Just open it up and just start typing. Whatever you can think of, just some ideas, some random stuff. It doesn't have to be good, but whatever it is, you are actually taking action at this point. You are working. And so what you're starting to see now is the slowly snowball effect is coming in, and you're going to start to get inspiration. You're going to start to take different things in. Maybe you can do a bit of research while you're halfway through this, and maybe I saw some email copy last week that was really good. Let me see if I can find that and get some inspiration from that. And you can see where the cycle is starting to take effect, right? And so now you have some inspiration, you have some good ideas, and you realize very quickly that, like, hold on a minute, this email copy stuff wasn't actually that difficult. Now I'm actually writing and I'm in the swing of things. Now I have some motivation, and because I have motivation, I'm more willing to do action. And so tomorrow I now have a very clear step-by-step guide of what I'm actually going to do. And it's very, very simple, and a lot of people might be thinking this is pretty simple, but once you actually start to do this and you start to implement it, you just see how powerful it is. And so when you're in this rut where maybe it's been a couple of days since you actually did something, or maybe you were supposed to do a task yesterday but now you delayed it to today, just get the Google Doc open, just get that spreadsheet open, just get whatever it is, the very first thing, and do it. And whether this is, with fitness, for example, whether you just need to go and put your gym shoes on to actually get you in the mood to go to the gym, whether this is literally just, you're struggling to get up at a certain time, and, you just need to think, I'll just get out of bed for 1 minute at the time that I want to get up, and then you get a bit of inspiration. I'll just clean my teeth and then I can go back to sleep, right? And then once you've cleaned your teeth, you'll realize that actually I might as well just stay up. And so you have that inspiration. You think, I have more ideas here today. I can do this in the morning, I can do that. And then you're motivated, and then you're going to do more and more action. And just that tiny bit of action creates a snowball effect where, eventually what you're going to start to see is this just compounds and compounds and compounds. And so now when we go to the action, it's going to turn to inspiration, and you can slowly start to see the kind of effect that this would have where, a small bit of action is now going to give you a bit of inspiration that is then going to go to motivation, then even more action, and it's going to compound in this effect. And so one more thing that a lot of people do struggle with is that when it comes to actually doing some work, doing some effort, oftentimes people put their tasks, their actions into really, really big categories. So, complete 100 outreaches, do 5 sales calls, whatever it may be. The task for the day is this really, really big task, and, it looks pretty huge. But what I actually like to do is, especially if there's a task that is really, really huge, onboarding a new client, which is, like 20 or 30 different steps for us right now. What you can actually do is, instead of you have, this task that is here, like let's say, for example, it's complete 100 outreaches, right? And we're going to do this via cold email. If you currently don't have any team members, or you do this, the whole thing yourself, the first thing that you're going to do is, of course, it's going to be source 100 leads, right? But obviously, the first thing to actually source 100 leads is going to be to open the spreadsheet, right? And then maybe we're going to open the lead directory. Let's say we use Better Business Bureau. Let's open, the lead directory. And then, maybe we want to do something like put the 2 pages side by side. And so these are like the very, very small step-by-step guide, okay? And so in order to complete 100 outreaches, we of course need to open the lead spreadsheet to go and input leads in there. And now what you're starting to see very quickly is, completing 100 outreaches, that sounds like a lot, especially for one day, right? That sounds like it's going to take me a lot of time today. Source 100 leads, okay, that's a little bit better. It's still going to take me a bit of time. Okay, and then the first step is going to be to open the spreadsheet. Well, okay, that's super easy. I can open the spreadsheet, and so you just go and open the spreadsheet. And so that's your first bit of action. And so now you have this bit of action. Now you have a tiny bit of inspiration. Of course I can open the lead directory, so I'll do that. I can put the 2 pages side by side. Okay, I can do that. Okay, and then I'm going to click on the first lead, or the first business. Okay, and then I'm going to find their email, and then I'm going to find the business owner name. Okay, and so you can see we're breaking this really big task now into all these tiny chunks. Okay, and so now we're just getting tons and tons of inspiration and motivation, because I can find, you know, one business owner's email and I can find one business owner's name. That's no problem at all. And so now we have this really big task that's been separated into so many mini tasks that it all just become very simple. And then obviously, you know, once we source 100 leads, we want to maybe write some email copy if we're going to do new email copy, for example. You know, if we're going to use some email sending software, you know, we want to import it into the software. And then, you know, what else we want to do? Maybe we're going to add some personalization in here. So we're going to, you know, we're going to make 100 looms. And this is going to sound really difficult, okay? But if we make a loom script, and, you know, what's the next task going to be? You know, maybe we've got to make a spreadsheet so that we can do this in a quick fashion, so we can just open all the websites. And then the next task is going to be turn loom on. And then we go to, you know, hit record. Save the script, end recording, and so on and so forth, right? And you can very quickly see how we can make hundreds and hundreds of tasks here. Very simple tasks, you know, click record, just say the script, end the recording, stuff like that. And now what we're going to do is we're just going to take these small bits of action, this tiny bit here, and now this is going to give us the inspiration and the motivation that we actually need to get stuff done. And eventually, once you have this and you're just in that cycle and you just know how to do this every single time, you're not going to have a list of a to-do list where it's actually just 4 things for the day and they're all super huge tasks. You're now going to break this down to actually all these tiny little chunks, and this is where you get the motivation from that you're looking for. So no longer are you going to actually need to hit that rock bottom to actually be in a position where you're not really doing too well to actually go and do the original work that you should have just done when you were doing well. And so now you can actually jump onto the cycle at any point when you want to, and you have basically a free way to get inspiration, motivation, and be able to take more action and to complete more work. By the way, if you are looking for clients on a done-for-you solution, go ahead and click the first link in the description. We're not going to ask for your email or your phone number or anything like that. It's literally just a video of myself explaining how my company does this. You don't have to click it, of course, if you just want to watch this content, and that's completely fine. But if you did enjoy the video, then go ahead and click the like button and comment if you want me to cover anything specifically, and subscribe if you want to see more. Appreciate you watching this one to the end. Cheers.